A routine flight turned into a nightmare no one could have imagined. A black teenage girl, already weak from a medical condition, boarded with the quiet hope of reaching home safely. But instead of compassion, she faced cruelty from the very person entrusted with passenger safety. A flight attendant's shocking act would place her life on the line, exposing prejudice at 30,000 feet. Her father's desperate intervention changed everything, but what followed was more than just survival. How far can racial bias go before justice steps in? Wait a second. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this. 17-year-old Maya was like any other teenager, ambitious, hopeful, and resilient. Diagnosed with a rare condition, she required a portable oxygen device when traveling. That afternoon, Maya and her father boarded a flight from Dallas to New York. They had planned the trip carefully, double-checking airline approvals and securing medical clearance. For Maya, it was supposed to be just another step toward normalcy. Sitting by the window, watching the clouds drift by, and dreaming of life beyond hospital visits. Her father, David, kept a watchful eye, calm but alert, knowing the journey could be tiring. At first, everything seemed ordinary. Passengers settling in, luggage stowed, engines roaring to life. But subtle glances and muttered tones hinted that something was off. Maya didn't notice, but her father did. The flight attendant's stare lingered too long. What should have been a safe journey was about to turn into their most terrifying ordeal yet. Minutes after takeoff, Maya leaned back, her breathing steady but reliant on the soft hiss of her oxygen device. The sound was faint, barely noticeable to anyone nearby, yet the flight attendant approached with irritation etched on her face. She questioned the device, her tone sharp, dismissive, as though Maya's need was a nuisance rather than a necessity. David calmly produced the paperwork, offering proof of medical approval. But instead of reassurance, her eyes narrowed. She accused them of breaking rules and endangering others, despite having received medical clearance. Passengers began to whisper. Some looked away, unwilling to get involved. Others stared, sensing something was wrong. The attendant's voice grew louder, her language harsher, her prejudice now undeniable. She claimed the oxygen device was too disruptive, and, with a shocking act of recklessness, reached forward to disconnect it. Maya gasped, her chest tightening instantly, her eyes wide with fear. David leapt up, grabbing the device before it was entirely removed, his voice breaking through the stunned silence. Panic spread through the cabin. An innocent teen's life was in danger at the hands of someone who was supposed to protect her. The captain was alerted, but the damage was already done. Maya struggled to breathe, tears streaking her face, as her father fought not only for her health, but against the ugly shadow of racism. And as the plane pushed through the skies, tension inside the cabin soared higher than the altitude itself. The confrontation reached its breaking point when Maya's oxygen faltered, alarms from the device flashing red. Her father shouted for medical assistance, his desperation undeniable. Passengers finally broke their silence, with some filming and others demanding that the attendant stop. Yet she stood firm, her hand still on the device, insisting she had authority. The captain emerged, shock on his face, as he witnessed the teen gasping for air. In that moment, federal marshals on board intervened, restraining the attendant as David secured the device back in place. Maya's breathing returned in ragged, painful bursts. The cabin was filled with fear, outrage, and disbelief. What had started as a routine flight had escalated into a life-and-death struggle, and justice now loomed over the skies. When the plane landed, law enforcement was waiting. The flight attendant was escorted off in handcuffs, her arrogance replaced with shock as passengers cheered in relief. The FAA launched an investigation, and the airline was forced to confront its policies and the culture that allowed such hatred to fester. Maya survived, but the trauma lingered, etched into her memory. A reminder that even the skies weren't free from prejudice. Her father's swift action saved her life, but the questions remained. How many others had suffered in silence? How many times had injustice been ignored at 30,000 feet? This story wasn't just about one girl, it was a mirror held up to society. And now, it's your turn. Which country and city are you watching from? Take care.